DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another episode of Wedding Chat with Dave Ternier and Jeremy Brech.
Hey, Dave. How you doing, man?
Good. You, buddy?
Doing good. It's like I haven't seen you since this afternoon. Are you eating pistachios?
No.
Dave.
Christmas colored peanut M&Ms.
Okay, we're live. Let's act like we're live.
All right. Well, act like we're live then.
Peanuts and wine. Well, hey, everybody. I am Jeremy Brech, DJ Jer with DJ Jer Shop Time, and just a kind of a little bit of everything within the DJ industry. That's probably what people know me for or as. But yeah, we run a multi-op lighting, audio, DJ company, and a little bit of everything. That's what we do. Dave. Take it, Dave.
Even an L, Dave Ternier, owner-operator of a single op, special request weddings, north of is it the 49th parallel? Is that the parallel that borders the U.S., Canada?
I have no clue.
Anyway, I'm up here in Canada, Manitoba, middle of the country. For those who are curious, about 2.5 hours straight north of Minot, North Dakota. And author of a DJThought.com, a blog that I missed posting a blog post on this week. Nobody's blasted me yet, but
what a jerk. Well, so the reason Dave and I kind of team up on this whole little show is because we do have different perspectives, but yet we also have very similar perspective, which is kind of cool. The thing we're going to talk about tonight, which I'm actually pretty excited about, we're going to talk about backup gear, because there's been situations this summer where if I didn't have my backup gear, or if I didn't have good gear to start with, I really would have been in a really tough position. So I know that I've shared some of these stories already, but what I think would be valuable is I would love to hear, as we're kind of going through this, I would love to hear where people have their backup gear, like what backup gear they have. But I'd also be interested to hear what they don't have backup gear for, and that they just kind of cross their fingers that nothing ever happens to that piece of gear. So I know I have that. Yeah, you too. I know that I have that situation. So I'm just gonna start right off with a couple stories that I came into. It was 2 weeks ago. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and as a teaser, if people hang on, I will tell everybody about my event this past weekend. And Jeremy, what you would have done when my 6-foot glow totem with a Chauvet 350 spot LED on it was knocked over by a 400-pound guy and slammed to the floor right behind me, about 2 feet behind me. We'll get to that later, though.
Oh man.
Carry on.
Okay, actually, here, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the damages and things like that. Because
Back up here first.
I think this is important because in our contracts, it actually says, any damage that is created by yourself or the client, not DJ related. So like you said, if someone stumbles into your glow totem and knocks over a $700 light, how does that taken care of? And Dave, we talk all the time. So I don't remember if we've talked about this in the show or we just talked about this, but one of my stories is I had a situation where I had my Evolve 50s. They were on both sides. We like to kind of frame the dance floor, which is also framing the head table. Right. So I have Evolve 50s on both sides of the head table. And the dance floor was packed. Everyone was a great time. And then all of a sudden, this lady, I don't know if she stumbled on her shoe or what, but she fell into the head table. And there was a vase for the floral. All this water fell to the side and fell right into my Evolve 50.
Right.
So the top was fine. No water got to that. But all of this water poured in where, if you know these units, there's like a 45-degree angle, and that's where all of your DSP is at, basically all the knobs and the electronics of this system. And so I'm like, oh crap, first thing I do is I go over to help this lady up, make sure she's okay. And then I start chewing her out. No, I didn't. I didn't actually chew her out. But, then I went over to double check my speakers and make sure everything was okay. Cause I did see that, some water got on the floor and kind of around the speaker. So I get over there, I grab some towels and I start wiping some things up. And then I start noticing that it's kind of like in where the XLRs plug into, things like that. I'm like, okay, that's going to cause some problems. So I went to go shut the speaker off and I could already hear something wasn't working the way it was supposed to.
Oh, really?
So I knew that something had happened. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this thing completely drained. I'm going to get all the water out of it. I'm going to wipe this thing up. And I was basically running, and it was probably like 25 minutes left in the night. So it's not like it was right after the first dance and, I was basically going to be screwing myself over.
Yeah.
And I think this is the part of the conversation that I've told in the past on here. I had to basically run the rest of my wedding, and we're talking like all the songs that need all that bass,
Final of the night, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you got Usher's. Yeah. You've got Low. You've got, like all these songs where you got to have that bass. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how is this going to work? And I think every DJ needs to think about a scenario that if one of your speakers down, say it goes down, one of the amplifiers goes out, whatever it is your audio good enough to be able to run off of one speaker? And I'm not saying you have to have, 8 speakers waiting in your vehicle in case one goes out, but do you have good enough audio that would actually be able to finish a show if you had to run one speaker or you had to run one sub, or maybe one of your subs went out? Can you still perform and can you still do your job without that one piece of equipment? And so when that speaker went out, I was lucky enough that, again, I went through a whole gain structure thing. There's a DJ Jer Shop Time video out there that talks about gain structure and settings. I definitely recommend.
I need to find that.
What's that?
I need to find that.
Yeah. Even if you don't have an Evolve 50, I would always recommend going through a gain structure system to make sure that you are working your audio correctly. But anyways, I had to use that one speaker basically for the rest of the night. I went to turn the other one back on and I had nothing. So, the electronics came on, but no sound was happening. So I knew, again, there was some damage there and I needed to fix that problem. I did survive with just one speaker. I have now bought just a additional sub that I have in my vehicle at all times because of that one situation. So I have an extra sub. I have 3 subs and I have, or 3, of the lower module, which has the DSP, has everything in it. So I have 3 of those and then 2 tops. So I always have a backup for scenarios like that, because you know what? You never know when something like that could happen. I never had ever had that problem in the past. But it goes to show things happen.
Right.
So with the contract thing, you know what, Dave, what's in your contract for scenarios like that?
Scenarios as far as if a piece of equipment gets damaged.
Yeah, absolutely.
My contract, word for word, says,
"You buy me new speakers, woman." Okay, well, as you're looking for that, I can tell you exactly what's in mine. So in my contract, it basically states that if there is any damage at the event because of a guest, then they're technically liable for the damages. Now, here's the thing. If you have good insurance, if something like that happens, then technically all you're doing is you're asking the client to pay for, gosh, I can't even think of the word right now.
The deductible.
The deductible. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Now, this, I think, is part of the conversation that we've had in the past is, do you take the risk of asking a client / a referral to pay a $250, a $500 deductible because of something that happened at the event? Do you take that risk? Is it more damage than if you just take care of the damage yourself?
Right. Well, with me, the answer is easy. I don't charge them.
Okay.
The reason I had to look through my contract just now was because I used to have it in there, but I was pretty sure I took it out. And so I just did a quick read through my contract, and yeah, I don't have that in my contract.
So you have absolutely nothing that covers any damages to your equipment? I'm
insured.
Well, that's true, but...
And like you mentioned, I'm probably not going to pursue a client. Right? It's $500. I charge enough that if I have to suck up $500 every once in a while, cost of doing business. Facebook world, YouTube world, debate that. The honest truth is I wouldn't pursue probably.
But I think what you need to keep in mind is if something would happen to your entire system, I don't know exactly how your insurance covers, if it's
$500
piece of equipment, but I've had situations, or I've heard situations, you talk to like Mike Anderson, who had all of his equipment in his trailer, none of it was covered.
None of it was covered?
No, he basically had to build his entire system from scratch again.
Yeesh.
For every piece of equipment, because his insurance wouldn't cover. Now it's a different scenario because his insurance company, they didn't call it, like it was like marine or something like that, where it wasn't connected to the vehicle, or it was connected to the vehicle, so technically it would go, I don't know, it was a debacle. But anyways, there's certain scenarios where your insurance company might not cover situations.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jeremy and I do not play an insurance broker on the internet, nor do we pretend to be one, so please check with your insurance. I know I've checked with my insurance, and it is fully covered if in a trailer. It does not have to be alarmed. Signs of forcible entry is required, though, which means if your trailer's not locked, it's your own damn fault. Yeah. So, but yeah, people check your own insurance. But Jeremy, backup gear. You had a story that you haven't shared yet about something going down at an event recently.
Yeah. So this was 2 weeks ago, and actually I sent a picture to you and John.
Yep.
And I said, it was actually at the event. I said, I have a great topic for you. I took a picture, and it was my Denon 8000.
Yep.
Had a laptop. It had my MIDI board. It had another laptop. It had a Denon 6000, another laptop, and then my laptop for my lighting. I mean, it was like people probably walked by and they were probably thinking that I was like selling laptops at Best Buy. I mean, I seriously had so much electronics on this, on my table. And so what happened is my computer, for some reason, would not connect to my 8000.
Okay.
And it was having driver issues. So I'm like, okay, I can figure this out. So I started going through all these scenarios, trying this, trying that, switching out USB cables, everything I could possibly think of. And I'm like, this isn't working. So then finally, that's when I was like, okay, I'm just going to go grab a 6000. So I grabbed my 6000 and I had that as backup gear. Now, again, I am so comfortable with my 8000 now. Like I can look at a 6000 and be like, okay, how do I load the song again? I mean, it's been so long and you get so comfortable with the way you work. I mean, you probably have in your setup, you probably set your system up exactly the same way every single time. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cause this is where your microphone goes, because when you need to grab your microphone quick, it's right there. And so me having an extra whole system on my table, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scatterbrained here. But so what I did as I was trying to figure out my 8000, I got the 6000 up and running. I switched over my cables. So all of my stuff was running to my, actually, no, I take that back. I have I use the Evolve 50s. I actually ran completely separate XLRs to the Evolve 50s in the back into input 2. So I have input 1, my 8000 still plugged in. Still trying to figure it out, because what was happening is my drivers weren't working. So I could turn up the volume, and I wanted to make sure that it would actually still come through the speakers. But when I turned up the volume, it actually turned up the volume on the laptop and not the output of the sound card in my Denon 8000. So I'm like, okay, I have to keep this thing plugged in so I can test it, make sure that it is sending the audio to the speakers. So then I had that running into input 1 on both speakers. I had the 6000 plugged into input 2. So what I did is I did my introductions. I did all my cocktail and dinner music, but I could still use my microphone, because my microphone's not connected with a computer. I could still use my microphone on the 8000, which my 8000 microphone is it's a much higher quality microphone. I have a higher end microphone in that than I do in my backup system.
Like wired into the case type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had my microphone that I was using from the 8000 case. I had my board and my computer that I was using from the 6000 case. And I had the extra laptop that I talked about, trying to figure out if the drivers worked in that one. So all I had to do was, I called MJ. I'm like, all right, I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, I'm having a problem. I'm at a show. I need your help. I'm like, it feels like I can only use my 8000 anymore. So I sent him a message. I'm like, here's my issue. He's trying. He's like, did you try this? Did you try this? I'm like, I tried everything. So then it finally came down to, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to uninstall the drivers and I'm going to reinstall the drivers. And that fixed my problem. But again,
Really?
if I wouldn't have had that backup gear, I really would have put myself in a very tough position. Now, Here's the other thing that I find very valuable when it comes to the Evolve 50s. If I ever have a situation, I have my phone ready to go. If I ever have a situation where my board freezes up or my computer freezes up and my music stops, all I have to do is have this Bluetooth on my phone, and I can send Bluetooth to the speakers to at least get me until I can get my system back up. So it might be one song, it might be two songs. I have a whole library on my phone as a third backup system if I ever run into a scenario like that.
Smart.
So I love the Bluetooth feature. I would never use it for an entire dance. I would never use it for a ceremony. But for situations like that, it works great.
Right.
It also works great. We did an event where I had a singer who we used an iPad. All of her music was on an iPad. And she was out in front. And we actually sent the audio Bluetooth from the iPad to the speakers. So I didn't have to run a cable from the iPad to the speaker. So Again, it was awesome. It looked so clean. I didn't have any extra cables or anything. But yeah, I mean, that was it's a big scare when you have this piece of equipment that is so important to your performance and it stops working, you get put in a tough position. Right. So what has everybody else talked about? Any feedback?
No, apparently the link is not working tonight, folks. Sincere apologies if you tried to watch that out earlier, because obviously if you can hear me talking right now, you're only watching through Facebook.
So, Dave, you do not use your backup gear. I mean, what do you have for backup gear? What do you not have for backup gear that you are now thinking I should probably get backup gear?
Yeah. So I have backup for absolutely everything,
Okay.
including extra speakers out in my trailer. Yada yada yada. I have, I use my little tone match with my Bose setup. But if, I needed an extra mixer because that thing died or something like that, I have my ceremony rig out in my trailer, which is, a completely separate mixer built into its own, SKB case with wireless microphones and yada, yada, yada. So covered there. Music wise, I run a pair of MacBook Pros at all my events. One runs Serato and is nothing but music. No other file exists on that computer. So as to keep it super clean, super fast. My other MacBook is running Chauvet Show Express. It has all my scripts on it, my agendas. If I need to buy a tune from iTunes that for some reason I don't have that I want, I can get it there. And it's also live connect. It's a live backup as well. It's wired right into my DDJSX. It has Serato on it as well. It has a mirrored copy of all my music hard drive. So
do you your board
backup?
Your controller?
Don't have. What's that?
I'll say your controller that you're talking about that has dual laptop connection.
No, my other laptop that's not my primary music one, that's just connected via headphone jack.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But if I had to yank it, USB out from my primary music computer, yank it out, plug it into the other one, load Serato, away I go.
So it's interesting because I think when we look at the technology that some of these controllers have now, I bought the 8000, the Denon 8000, and I love that board, but I want to have a backup controller in case I run into situations like that. And I want something that's similar, not my 6000. I want something that's similar to my 8000. So I was looking at the 7000s, the Denon 7000. The Denon 7000 actually has two USBs where you can run two laptops at the same time.
Got it.
You can typically run one laptop on the left controller side, one on the right side. You can switch. You can have them both run on the left one and then have your right one as a backup. I mean, it's pretty slick. So I think to me that is a really important feature that I think you're going to start seeing in a lot of controllers coming out. The other thing too, which I think a lot of boards have kind of noticed this. I know Roland is going to start working on, getting the two microphone inputs. For the longest time, boards only had one microphone input. And the reason was because your DJ controller was to control your music. It wasn't to be your all-in-one. And now I think you're starting to see a lot more all-in-ones where you have to have two microphones. And when you think about microphones, it's great to have two wireless mics, but I would always recommend, and I always have an extra wired mic in case of scenarios of frequencies are having issues because, you run out of batteries. Granted, you're probably not going to go out to the middle of the floor with a wired mic, but it's better than, I hear these stories about when people used to get their headphones and they would plug it in to the back where the microphone plugs in at, and they would actually talk into the headphones as their microphone because their microphone went out.
Right.
Can you imagine that? Yeah. Can you imagine looking over and seeing your DJ with this cup of a headphone over his mouth? Yeah.
So I run two wireless mics at all my events, and I don't know if I even own a corded mic anymore.
I would get one.
So I run two wireless at my events. I've got two more extra wireless handheld mics in my trailer. I will say one thing though. Folks, if anybody is running one microphone and your wireless is a corded microphone that's coiled up and in your bag behind you or in a case somewhere, that's not backup. Well, because if your mic goes down, if you have to go get your mic from somewhere else, your mic's probably going to go down in the middle of talking. So as far as I'm concerned, a backup mic is only good if it's wired and ready to go.
Yep.
With the speaker, I would consider a backup speaker okay if it's sitting out in the trailer. That's a little more substantial. You're not going to have.
And you can keep the audio going. I think that's your point is when you're in the middle of a speech and that microphone cuts out, it's done. Like
Exactly.
you just ruined the moment. But if a speaker goes out, the moment's still happening because you still have the other audio going on.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I run a pair of wireless mics at all my events, and haven't had a backup or haven't had a wired one in quite some time. Sometimes I think about putting one in again, and then it just gets stuck at the bottom of a box, and I'm a year later, I go, oh crap, I forgot I had this wired here anyway. I'll be able to find it if I needed it, I don't know. It's backup. As far as backup is concerned, the major piece of equipment I don't have a backup of is my controller. Jeremy, you're good job that you had something, even if it wasn't an ideal controller. As people just heard me say, I run the Pioneer DDJ-SX, the first version. So I imagine I'll replace that with whatever the current version of that is this coming spring, which will make my DDJ-SX my backup because I won't sell it. I'll just leave it in the trailer, keep it with me type of thing.
So John was telling us about, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we started talking about this? John was talking about the Newmark DJ to go. Remember this?
Right. Yeah. So
basically, you run your software, you can run everything, and this thing like almost fits in your pocket. I mean, it's like super small. It's the size of a king size Kit Kat bar, I think. And you can actually go like headphone jack out. So if you need to, I mean, and again, you look at the Evolves, you can actually plug right into the headphone. There's an 1/8-inch jack on the Evolve 50. There's also an 1/8-inch jack on this little controller. And I carry 2 pairs of headphones. I mean, it's like, I seriously,
I don't do that.
I think I have backups for everything. But so I've got the V-Modas. I have the V-Modas that actually have the 1/8-inch jack cord that it's not like permanently in the headphone. You plug it into the headphone and then you plug it into the front of your controller, which that's another thing I love about the 8000. A lot of this new stuff is they actually have an 1/8-inch jack for the headphones now instead of these 1/4-inch jacks. Our 6000s only have the 1/4-inch jacks, and we've had it where they get bumped. The next thing you know, that 1/4-inch jack is like stuffed inside of the machine or inside the unit, and now the guys can't actually plug in. Yeah, I mean, it's a multi-op. Yeah. What? It's not theirs. It doesn't matter. So the scenario of I've used that cord numerous times, not just for headphones, but it's like, okay, I need to go from an iPod into the back of my Evolve 50, or I need to go from this to that. That cord for my headphones have actually been a savior for me. So I technically have 4 of those since I have 2 of those sets of headphones.
Wow. Quick thing, everybody, by the way, for anybody watching, John, Dish Talking News have Christmas DJNTV holiday giveaway. I believe he told Jeremy and I that we get to give away an EV product 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, we got the grand prize. We got the grand prize.
Yeah, we got the last one. So, John, if you're listening, if all you're doing is giving us speaker covers to give away,
I don't want it. Well, maybe do I want it? I mean, I might want it.
True that.
If they're for the covers for the covers for the bottom of the Evolve 50s, I want it.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess to sum up the backup gear part, everyone, take a close look at that. Weddings, well, any event I know this is wedding chat, but any event really is worth backup gear. And I will just throw a bit of a bone out there for those just starting out. I know backup gear is probably a little further down your list right now, and I get that. I imagine the people that are hiring you understand that you're just starting out too. So there's maybe a little more leeway and forgiveness. But look, for any of us charging pro rates and this type of thing, for any of you charging pro rates, bring an extra cabinet with you, bring an extra, have 2 mics, this is basic stuff, folks, especially if you're working at pro levels or if you want to be considered pro.
The one last thing I want to kind of talk on that. That was a great point that you brought up. I mean, if you're just getting going, it's going to be hard to say, yep, I'm going to buy a whole nother system and I'm going to have it ready just in case.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started out, I had a Crown. It was a Microtech Crown 600. That was my amplifier that ran all of my audio.
Nice.
And I always thought to myself, like, what would happen if this goes out? What am I going to do? If this thing pushes on me, I'm screwed. So like I said, we're having this session or this chat because we don't want you to run into a scenario and then say, crap, I wish I would have had a backup of that.
Yeah.
Think of every single thing that you could possibly need, and then think to at least have a half of it, or at least have something ready to go in case a scenario happens. If you're a multi-op, you probably have someone that can, oh yeah, guys, hey, my speaker's not working. No problem. We'll bring one right over to you.
Right.
But when you're in a situation like what Dave has, you are your backup kid. I mean, you're the person who packs your vehicle. You're the person who backs up your gear. You're the person who sets up your gear. You do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's up to you to make sure that you have backup gear to cover yourself.
So true. So this past Sunday night, at a Christmas party, it was my doubleheader weekend. At a Christmas party for 600 people on Saturday night, and then 90 people on Sunday night. You still there, Jared?
I am.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
No, you looked frozen. Anyway, so my Sunday night party is going just fine. I've done that party for 5 years in a row now. Great people, and what time is it? 10:30, 11 o'clock. I don't know. We're in the middle of an EDM set, just hammering. Right, people are going nuts. I have my Freedom Par Hex Force strobing away as I do my Chauvet Intimidator Spot LED 350s, and all of a sudden, all I hear is bang.
Well, you gave the guy an epileptic seizure. What do you expect?
And I look behind me there's about 3 feet between me and the wall, and about 1 foot over that way. And I see the hit. I see my mover, my Intimidator 350 on the floor, still bolted to the top of the glow totem. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I don't know what anybody else here would have done, but I killed the volume on everything. I stopped the party and was like, what the
insurance?
Anyway,
was the guy okay?
The guy was fine. The guy didn't have a clue what was going on. He was 400 plus pounds, pretty top heavy guy. Okay. And was just so loaded, had no idea what was going on. And honestly, he probably just barely bumped it, but because of his mass, anyway, I'm like, oh my God. I've never had a major piece of equipment get damaged at an event. As maybe some of you are saying, because of the contract I've got, like obviously Dave's never had anything happen, right? Anyway, and I'm like,
hold on. Here's my guess. You aren't going to, you're not going to confront this guy, not because you have insurance, because you know this guy will probably kill you.
No. There's not that. He's a nice guy. Like I said, I've been doing this party 5 years in a row. I know most of the staff at this. It's actually at a venue. So the party was for the staff of a venue that hosts a lot of weddings. Great people. Anyway, I'm like, what the hell happened here? Like, what's going on? Like, is he okay? Whatever. I'm freaking out a little bit, and I'm like, you guys, like, this is like, oh. So I'm like, well, I don't know. So grabbed it, tipped it back up, and I'm like, there's all these motors, right? X and Y axis and all this jazz, and I'm like, oh God. And I can tell the handle's broken.
Oh, okay. I'll say everyone needs to know, does it still work?
So I'm like it's like twitching like this by the time I've got it back up, right? And I'm like, oh, this thing is screwed. So I'm like, well, wait a second, unplug it, see if it'll, reorientate itself, whatever. Jeremy, you can probably tell me technically more speaking what it does. But every time you turn it on, right, it kind of figures itself out. So I unplug it, plug it back in, and it goes.
That's like the exact sounds and motions it would actually make. That's pretty impressive.
The sounds are a little overemphasized. But anyway, so I'm like, here goes nothing. So I've got keyboard shortcuts for a lot of my scenes in Show Express. I push T, which turns on my white lights in it, and poof, it comes to life. I'm like, holy hell. So I move this out, fires away just fine. I'm like, whoa. So
just the handle, huh?
Just the handle. So if you're wondering, a Chauvet Intimidator 350 Spot LED can handle slamming down on its side. All you gotta do is prop it back up again, unplug it, plug it back in. Where you go.
If it can handle a 400-pound quarterback sack
Oh, I mean, super nice guy, but I mean, we're talking a big boy, right? I mean, he just bumps into you, you can fall. He was immediately escorted from the party. Oh yeah, they took him away right away.
Like, you don't mess with our DJ.
Yeah, they were like, "Look, Dave, he doesn't drink that often," and yada yada yada. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, not my problem."
Yeah, you make this guy drink. Way to go.
Right, right. So anyway, I gotta say I was blown away that this thing still worked. I think I'm gonna guess I got pretty lucky,
Yeah.
but at the same time, yeah, just super thrilled that it continued working.
Mhm.
Got over myself. I wasn't gonna get pissed off at the guy because what the hell is that going to accomplish?
Right.
The manager who was on duty at the venue that night, he came in. He says, "Hey, Dave, like, holy God, like I just heard what happened. What's the deal?" So, he put a little write up on file for the manager of the venue, who's, who I'm friends with. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll let Chris know in the morning, that type of thing. And I said, yeah, no worries. And this venue always gives me a hotel room to stay at overnight. So I stayed overnight, and I saw the manager the next morning. He's like, "So Dave, like, everything okay?" I'm like, "As far as I can tell, just this little handle." He's like, "Well, you let me know whatever we need to pay." I'm like, it's just a handle. I think it'll be fine. I'll monitor it more closely at this weekend's event that I've got this coming weekend. And I said, "But it looks fine." He's like, "Okay, well," he says, "you let me know." I'm like, "I know, Chris, you're good for it." So
You should have been like, "Yeah, I'm a little shaken up, but I think I'll be all right."
yeah. So yeah, that was pretty bizarre. I mean, my contract does state that should something happen that puts myself or my equipment at risk, I do have full right to stop the party, and provided that situation can be resolved within 15 minutes, the party will continue.
Yeah.
So, as soon as that happened, it might sound weird, but that part of my contract immediately went to mind. I'm like, okay, well, what do my rules say? Okay, I'm just going to kill it. We're going to figure this out. And provided it can be resolved, which it was, they said, "Don't worry, Dave, we're taking this guy away." I'm like, perfect. That resolves the situation. Let's carry on. And we partied till 1:00, which is how we were scheduled to do. So
Nice. Cool. Well, hey, you know what? Let's talk about you talked about the 12 days of Christmas that John's putting on, and
Yeah.
we get to give away the grand finale prize on December 20th. So make sure everyone is watching the show on December 20th. Even if you do not like the show, trust me, that's the one time you're actually going to want to watch the show. But let's talk about Christmas list. And I'm talking like DJ Christmas list. What is it that Dave Ternier wants for DJ Christmas? And I want to hear what everybody else wants too. I want to hear what's trending in our DJ world right now. Because I don't know if you saw like my Facebook posts, but I just received a ton of Christmas gifts. We just got a whole bunch of 375Zs, the Chauvet Intimidator 375Z Intimidator, Intimidator Spot 375Zs.
Send a few of them up. Send a few of them further north. Go on.
Yeah, because it's so easy getting stuff across the Canadian border. Yeah,
Here we go.
someday we'll talk about that scenario. But so those were some things that we got. We also got some of these, not strike. Strike. The little the strobes, the circular strobes that have like the multi rings, for some different effects. We're pretty excited to use those.
Nice.
And then we got a brand new snow machine. So the reason we got this, or the reason we did this, I have a snow machine, and we rent out the new 375Zs that we got. This company that we rent to, or this church that we rent to, every single fall, they reached out to us and said, "Hey, do you have these lights?" I said, "No." He's like, "Oh, shoot." I'm like, "But I can get them." And so I basically, I shot a price, and I said, "This is what it would be to rent, and I have to be able to pay them off in this amount of time," and so on and so on. And they're like, "Great, sounds awesome. Yeah, go ahead and get them, ship them." So I had them drop ship straight there. I had a whole bunch of stuff drop shipped there. And the folks over at IDJ Now completely helped me out a ton. I have a snow machine. I have the Antari 250 silent snow machine. And the church called me up, and they said, "Hey, the person we usually get the snow machine from got rid of their snow machine, so we don't have a snow machine for our production this year." And they're like, "We need your help." And so I said, "Okay, well, show me what they had." And they showed me this snow machine. I'm like, "Gosh, this looks exactly like what I have. This is probably the same exact machine." And they're like, well, we really want to stick with this same brand. We want to stick with this exact snow machine. And I said, well, I don't want to buy the same exact snow machine that I already have. I said, so if I'm going to make an investment, I am going to buy a bigger snow machine than what I have. And I'm going to charge you for that. And I'm going to pay that off within the next 3 years. And I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago or last week, right? Like you and I before or after the show?
Yeah.
Okay. So I ended up buying, and again, Justin over at IDG Now, he had this thing drop shipped for me. I ended up getting the Antari Silent Snow Machine 500. Okay. This thing it's in a rolling case and the jug is 5 gallons. It's a 5-gallon jug. Yeah. And the cool thing is it's got like a 30-foot hose. So, and the hose is like a vacuum hose. This thing is like probably a 2-inch, 2.5-inch hose. And it goes up 30 feet. So you can put it up in trussing. And I never even got to open or use this thing yet because I had a drop ship there. But it's like, I've always wanted a really good snow machine. The snow machine I have is okay for like a first dance. I still wouldn't consider it a silent. But this machine is phenomenal. I mean, this thing is like, they fired this thing up and they said, we are just blown away. This snow machine is amazing. Thank you. But again, I have it contracted with them that it'll be paid off in, 3 events with them. But I can still use it for, other productions that we have going on. And then we also got CO2 confetti machines. Because they're like, well, we were interested in a confetti machine. And I said, well, I think this one's going to be pretty underwhelming. I don't think this is going to be the confetti machine that's going to fill your church like you want it to. Right. And I said, but I can order this one, or this one. And I said, this one would be, or I said, this one will get you by. This one would be kind of cool. This one will blow your confetti through your church. And it's got like the LEDs, so it'll actually light up the CO2 path or whatever. I don't know what you call it, the blast. So I'm like, okay, I'll have these drop shipped to you. So we basically got a new snow machine. We got some new 375Zs. We got some new confetti / CO2 cannons. I mean, I probably dug into Christmas a little early, but like I said, it's all about taking care of your client, getting what you need or getting what they need, and then figuring out a way that investment is going to pay itself off, or it's going to be worth it for you as a company. So I'm pretty much good for Christmas, unless I win the Evolve the EV stuff on the 20th, which I don't think I can since I'm the one on the show.
Right. So hold up. This snow machine that you just got, that's the S500 you said or whatever. Yeah. It's like what? $1,500, $2,000.
Yep.
Yeah. So bizarre, but I just today had a meeting with my bride for New Year's Eve, and she asked me about a snow machine.
Dude, I'll ship it to you as long as you can get it across the border. They're done with it after this weekend. So,
well, I'm like, keep in mind, I'm just a one-man show, and she's probably also going to book Dancing on a Cloud with me, and obviously I'm the MC and the DJ, and I'm like, God, how many production things do I want to try to handle all at once, right? And I'm like,
it's all DMX. It's all DMX. But it would be kind of weird if they're dancing on the clouds, but yet it's snowing on top of the clouds.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be, yeah, you'd really have to figure out the physics on that one.
You tell me, you're the art guy.
Well, in reality, no, it can't snow on top of the clouds. The cloud above the cloud that they're dancing on. I don't know.
I see.
Snow dances are really cool. If you haven't done one or if you haven't seen one, they're awesome. And actually, the thing I love about snow machines is it really creates a lot of energy during fast songs as well. So when you think about it. So when you can't use fog, okay, when you can't use haze or you can't use fog, you can shoot snow and you blow up the intensity, or you raise the intensity of how fast it's blowing out or how much is blowing out. So now when you're moving your mover lights through that snow, it's catching all of the different light facets that are happening. It's awesome. It really is. But for a first dance, it looks really cool when you just do like a really nice wash on it. And I have some great pictures. We used it last year for a wedding, and the bride is just looking up with this huge smile on her face. You can see these snowflakes all around her. I'll put the picture up.
Wow.
It's a really cool moment. But like I said, it's a lot of fun to use during, basically giving them a blizzard during the fast songs too.
Right. So newbie question here. Never used a snow thing. What falls on the floor, and do venues ever get pissed off about it?
No, because it's basically a water base. It's no different than like some of your fogs and things like that. There's a lot of places that won't let you use oil base. I don't even know if they make oil base anymore.
Okay.
But it's basically just it's a water liquid that it turns into like a foam. It's a really fine foam. Imagine when you're washing the dishes and you have this big thing of foam in your hand and you just blow on the foam and it just kind of scatters. Okay. So what it's doing is it's actually going through a net. It's going through a net that is basically cutting up the foam really fine to make these little particles that look like snow.
No kidding.
So when it hits the floor, that's a great question. When it hits the floor, can it be slippery? Yes, but it actually dries really fast and it doesn't leave a residue, or it doesn't leave like a film or anything on the floor either.
That was my next question. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
well, I'm gonna have to
Christmas list. I think that should be our topic for next week. What do you think? Christmas list? So you can think on it a little bit.
I might be kind of boring though, because all I want is a new controller, really.
Okay. If you could have anything in a controller, what would it be?
If I get anything else, it means I gotta hire someone though. I'm kind of halfway. Anyway, John, we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you all for watching.
For us.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. The last couple shows, we've maybe meandered a little bit more than we will in the future. I want to get down and dirty on some topics, Jer, and some of our processes, and really give people some really, really great value for watching. So thanks for sticking with us, folks.
Sorry for not giving you value tonight.
I hope there was. I want us to get a little more nitty gritty. So if anybody's a fan of that, I'll push Jared toward that.
Sounds
but we're
good.
not going to stop sharing stories, because that's what we do.
That is what we do.
Anyway.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
1 second, guys. Jeremy, you broke the internet.
What? I'm still smiling.
I know. Just hold on. You guys just hang on a little bit longer.
Should we keep talking, or should we just stand here like this?
You're doing wonderfully. It's eventually going to let us flip this screen. It's not going to.
This is like the mannequin challenge.
This is. I suppose I could hit this button here, huh?